No, it's going.
Okay.
We're live.
Yeah, I was just gonna load it up too.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, I guess welcome to Digital Dungeons. We are gonna start kind of our character building and world building session for our playthrough of Apocalypse World. So yeah, we're basically going in pretty much completely blind on this. I've gone over the rules and I have a little bit of a handle on it, but I'm much more familiar with Dungeons and Dragons, so this is totally different. And we've only met once before to talk about this, just basically some of the general ideas, and I'll probably have to reiterate. We've only met. We're starting to play. Basically, in this session, we're going to. Everybody has like an idea for their character, but they haven't actually started to. They haven't done any character creation yet. It's basically just a little bit of brainstorming, a little bit of background. So we'll go through that process today. We also, in Apocalypse World, you want to kind of collaboratively create a world. Dungeons and Dragons definitely, especially if you buy a pre-built adventure, or if you have something really well planned out. There's a lot of kind of telling, and it's saying, okay, you guys are in this village that's near this city, and you're doing this job, and just handle that. Don't ask why. Apocalypse World is a lot more collaborative. In fact, I don't have a town name. I don't have a continent. I don't have anything for this. So a lot of it's going to be me asking you guys, like, say you're talking about your character that you're going to make. I'll ask, well, where's your character from? Well, what, why aren't you still in the town that you're from? Why are you in this new town? Who are your parents? There's going to be a lot of kind of background building. I think we're going to want to avoid setting this anywhere particular. Like, we're not going to be in apocalyptic LA or anything. I think all the place names will have changed. We'll talk about how long it's been since an apocalypse happened, but regardless, like, everything has a new name now. So we'll kind of build that up as we're doing some character creation. Okay, so yeah, if anybody wants to start and just kind of mention, I think we'll go through. I guess everybody, just at least this first time, say your name and talk about the main class that you're wanting to play, and maybe if you have just a tiny little bit of surface detail about your character, go ahead and mention that as well. So we'll start. We'll do it in the order. Well, actually, is everybody's? Let me look at Jay's page here. Okay, that's moved around. So we'll do reverse rainbow order as compared to what people's little colored icon is. So we'll start with Kyle, Ashley, Jay, and then Shannon last.
Okay.
So basically, I picked the driver as my class. I want to play the game with basically a car or two.
Right.
Kind of like I guess it's not a sidekick, but it's like part of my kit. From what I'm reading. My character's name is MacBeth, I decided. Like
okay,
that's cool. Same guy from Shakespeare. My character originally comes from Canada, back when it was Canada. Then I started wandering around with my vehicle after times got tough, and now I'm just looking to find a purpose, I guess, after the apocalypse happened. I don't know when that was.
Okay. Yeah, so it's always been the apocalypse during all of your guys' life, I would imagine, right?
Okay.
Unless somebody's like an ancient being.
No, I'm not ancient.
Okay, how old do you think MacBeth is?
30 on the dot. I'll say that.
Okay. Ashley, go ahead.
Really? Okay. Can you just know that? I'm typing things down as I go. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. Yo, so I'm Ashley. Um, my character is the Battlebabe.
Mm-hmm.
What I've taken it from so far is she's really just, she's a badass. Like she's, I don't want to say like a temptress. Like people love her, but
Mm-hmm.
like when you get too close, like she's not necessarily a psycho, but she's like a badass basically
Mm-hmm.
once you get closer to her. But she's like, she comes across as like, oh, she's great. Everybody wants to be around her, but then you get to know her and she's pretty crazy.
Very caustic kind of.
Yeah. I picked the name. I'm gonna mess it up. It's Alvara. It means the guard of all.
Alvara.
Yeah, Alvara. As of where she's from, really, I was thinking kind of just like the open plains, like the middle of like the U.S. because we're playing U.S. based, right? But not like names.
Right. There's a lot of Great Plains. I imagine they're all pretty similar.
Yeah, like literally just like the middle of the Great Plains, and it's been more of just for me just like a wandering around thing, just exploring, getting to know people, kind of just doing my own thing to get by and survive.
Okay.
Cool. It's my turn, right?
Yep.
I have picked the Faceless, and basically that class is kind of like already insane. They talk to they wear a mask and they talk to the mask, and it kind of like almost dictates what the character does at some points.
Mm-hmm.
I've I'm still working on a name, and I actually think the name and a lot of the details for my character is going to constantly change. I'm actually treating him more like a professional wrestler or an actor that kind of assumes a role depending on the mask.
Okay, yeah, I like that.
So I have the first one that I had is more of a serial killer style mask that like maybe he took from like Texas Chainsaw Massacre. So he looks kind of like Leatherface, and he
Mm-hmm.
carries a chainsaw. And then later that might change to whatever he sees when he comes into a town, and he just assumes the role. So he's kind of like almost like a method actor.
Oh my god,
Um,
that's good.
as far as where he's from, it all depends on the character he's playing.
Okay, so
So
actually, yeah, Ashley, Alvara, around how old is she?
Probably about like 33, 34.
Okay, mid-30s. And is this Faceless character Jay? Is he like does he really even know who he really is?
that's something I was going to work on the fly.
Yeah, because I can definitely see two
I was going with
really cool options there.
I was gonna go with no,
Mm-hmm.
and then maybe that's something he's dealing with personally
Right.
when he breaks away kind of from like when he has those moments of like realization that
Lucidity.
it's not like he's not the mask.
I like that. Yeah. Um. Okay, so what's he currently going by? His name?
The first name that I picked actually comes from a show that I watched, Ribbone,
Mm-hmm.
and that's pretty much it. I haven't really decided too much more other than I think I want a Leatherface looking mask and possibly a chainsaw to start with,
Okay.
and
Is it
then I'll dig around, when we get to like after our first um, session and see, what he could possibly change to, or if he wants
mm-hmm.
to change.
Right?
Yeah.
And I imagine well, this first mask is it like human skin, or is it just like leather? Is it stuff to look like skin?
Yeah. I'm not sure on that one.
Okay. Yeah,
I like the
we can put
idea
that
of it
together.
being human skin, but
That also makes it like as soon as people realize that he's an immediate target in any town. So
right.
you know what I mean?
So
Um,
So maybe it should be, since he's kind of doing more of a method acting thing, maybe that the mask should have been made and it should just be like skin looking leather.
Mm-hmm.
That they can be like, oh my god, yeah, well, okay, that's not scary.
Okay, well, yeah, I can see I can see the rabbit paw on the side there, so
yeah,
still creepy, but not as bad as it could have been, I guess.
Yeah, or maybe it's made from yeah, that'll work.
Yeah, that can change too, like you said.
Yeah, like I don't plan on keeping that. I looked at like a few other characters, like the Marvel character. I think his name's Crossbones. He has more of a. If you ever saw the characters from Army of Two, he has a mask kind of like that.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll see what happens and see what I find as the game progresses.
Okay, that'll be cool.
Yeah.
All right, Shannon, go ahead.
I have chosen to be a child thing.
Mm-hmm.
Scab is 12 years old. 12 years old? I'm not really sure if a child thing, is a child. It's just a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Goes by they, them. Kind of like you can't tell what their gender is. Shaved head. Like has a den where it has other child things living with it.
Mm-hmm.
Somewhat crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Big thing is that the wolves of the Maelstrom, am I saying that right?
Maelstrom, yeah.
Are after. So in mine, the wolves underneath their disguises look like angels, and they're constantly making horrible screeching sounds.
Oh my god.
Scab is super paranoid and talks to themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Grew up in caves, I guess. Doesn't really have parents. Just grew up with other children.
Mm-hmm.
Horrifying.
Okay.
To be honest, I brought it up when after we talked about this the first time. I was like, can we please do a twin child thing character?
God.
Where there's two of them that are just really just kind of like the kids from The Shining in the hallway.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's a
I was
nightmare.
I want that, and then we were just ultimately it was just we can't have. I wanted that, and I actually wanted to be after watching Blood Drive, I really wanted the driver class as well, just because there were some interesting ideas for vehicles, but
right.
I'm pretty happy with where my character went.
And there's a lot of stuff that the driver is going to start out with some transportation. The Battlebabe is going to start out with a customized weapon and everything. You guys can come across a lot more than you start out with, and there's vehicles I don't think are going to be common, but they're not going to be impossible to find.
Right.
This isn't like Fallout. There's going to be transportation around. So, I think it is we have a couple characters that kind of have wandered. So obviously just if you're talking about just a human, just on foot, you could spend your whole lifetime trying to get across the continental US from coast to coast. So, I think nobody's been traveling for longer than approximately half their life. I would probably be the max. So for you to be able to get that far, there's got to be relatively abundant vehicles. Okay, so I'll do just the default world building. Like I said, I don't want to take over and put you guys in a specific place or anything. So we'll kind of figure that out. The Scab the child thing is going to have a specific den. So I think that'll be the character that's kind of wandered around the least, probably. Because that den it can be updated, it can be moved, but that's a heck of a process.
Yeah.
Especially having to move, some weird ass non-gendered, non-human siblings. So yeah, basically, you know, it's not necessarily known. We can, you know, through the gameplay we can determine, or through backstory we might be able to determine, but it's not necessarily known what caused an apocalypse. There's a few constant things in the world, like in general, animal life, vegetative life, human life is extremely reduced. You know, the world is much more hostile. There's less farmland, there's less arable, you know, there's less crops. The world cannot support the human population that used to exist before. And at least in the state that it's in, people are never going to be able to recover back to the quote unquote golden age of before the apocalypse. There's a kind of a malevolent force that exists. It's called the psychic maelstrom. It exists literally. It does actually exist in a place. It's in the world, and you guys and probably most people you come across are going to have no idea where that is, or even a guess. But there is a focal point, and it's possible that this focal point is the location that the apocalypse took place from. It might be an extra dimensional portal that has some Cthulhu shit going on. It might be the drop point of an experimental nuclear bomb. You know, it can be a lot of things, but in general, it just kind of permeates the world. There's a kind of undercurrent of maliciousness, of violence, of fear that exists, and you can tap into it. Any character can tap into it and kind of try to, you know, maybe get a hint, or maybe try to determine if there's enemies nearby. This maelstrom is kind of like a sixth sense that is shared by everyone in the world at this point. It's a kind of a stream of information, but it's not necessarily useful information, and it's very tainted by the people that are connected to it. So specifically, like characters that are heavy in like the weird trait. So in this crew would be the Child Thing and the Faceless. They are kind of more closely associated to the psychic maelstrom, and in fact, you know, the Child Thing, part of the creation says, okay, there's this certain thing, like in this case, the wolves of the maelstrom that are hunting you down. So you know, there's some really weird shit out there in the world because of this. So yeah, we'll talk about some general stuff. There's only 5 stats that this game runs on, as opposed to, like, I don't know, the 6 in Dungeons & Dragons, or some games have more or less. In this game, it is cool, hard, hot, sharp, and weird. So cool would be, you know, your character's kind of able to convince people. They're maybe intimidating. They're able to
It's kind of like charisma.
Quickly and rationally. It's sort of like charisma, and sort of like will. It's sort of like, I don't know, there's a lot of stuff, like if you're going to do something badass, like if it's like, okay, I pop up from behind cover and I take a shot with my shotgun in this guy's face, and it's empty now and I don't have time to reload it, so I throw the shotgun stock first at a guy behind him and knock him out. That would probably have cool in there somewhere, because that's cool. Hard is basically, that's like your physical strength, and it's also your constitution. So that's going to include, you know, that'll have to do with health. That'll have to do with not taking damage. That'll have to do with, when you take damage, trying to take less. It would also have to do with, you know, punching a guy out, grappling, holding onto the edge of a cliff, holding on to the outside of a car that hit you and it's trying to throw you off. There's a lot of stuff under that as well. Hot is also like charisma. So I think that's where that line ends of, like, cool is sort of personality, but it sort of exists in the world. And actually hot really is the same way too, because it could be like your physical attractiveness, even if it's not like, you know, dime piece, like model quality looks. It could be that you're really attractive to people. It could be, you know, there's always the people that are like obsessed with criminals that are on death row that like try to get married to them and shit. Mm-hmm. I would argue that typically serial killers are not super attractive. So, there is something else. Like, it doesn't have to just be a physical attractiveness. It can be like a weird magnetic pull. It can be like charm. That can be a lot of things. And that's mostly used in interpersonal communication. Sharp is kind of like, it's a little bit dexterity, and it's a little bit awareness of the world or perception. So like, you can read it. The main like moves that are associated with it are reading a situation and reading a person. So you can try to use your sharp stat to tell if somebody looks like maybe they're moving their hand toward their gun, or maybe if it looks like they might be holding something behind their back or trying to hide it from your view. You might be able to tell if somebody says, oh, I'm from Peacetown and we don't hurt anybody, so go ahead and show me where you're like hiding all your treasure. You can try to tell if it's like, oh, okay, that seems a little sketchy. Let's see what this guy's really up to. And the final stat's weird. Like I said, the main thing you do with your weird stat is kind of associate with the psychic maelstrom. So that can give you a lot of really weird consequences, as you might imagine. Also, the more bizarre classes will use weird in a lot of their moves. And then moves are, anytime you're doing something, there's a move associated. The moves are pretty general, so we'll just kind of mention it as we play through. I don't want to go through the list because it's actually a pretty big list. But yeah, there's a lot of specific things. So, do something under fire is a main one. That's with the cool stat. Go aggro, sucker someone, do battle, seduce or manipulate, read a situation, read a person, open your brain. Those are some of the main skills that are going to happen a lot. All right. Other than that, let's start getting specific. So, if you go to apocalypse-world.com, it has the PDFs. It has all of the character creation, some of their moves, a little bit of flavor to help, give you some ideas. It'll also have all the stuff you need. It'll have name suggestions, stat sets, gear. It'll have your history. That's another important thing in the game is your history score. Basically, you will have different history with different characters. So you'll know whether, like, let's say Ribbone once pulled Alvara out of, like, Alvara fell in a pit, and there wasn't anybody around yet, but there was a group coming to check the trap and see if they had anybody. And Ribbone was like, well, that I see what they're doing, and that was a good catch and everything, so I kind of want to let them do this, but at the same time, this is my ally, we're doing something together, I'm going to pull her out. So, that might be like a +1 history bonus. So at some point, Ashley, you could say, okay, I respect Ribbone's dedication to his team, so I'm going to use this +1 to give him a bonus to this attack, or I'm going to use the +1 for myself to defend him, or whatever. There's going to be a lot of stuff that comes up like that. So you can help or interfere. You can use it for yourself. At the end of the session, that'll change, and you might get experience, or you might be able to pass along some history or whatever. So yeah, everybody make sure you have, I would say probably have your PDF open in the background so you can access it pretty quickly. Here on the Roll20 page, everybody will have their character sheet. So if you go to the kind of folded newspaper icon on the right side of the journal, you'll be able to edit your personal character sheet. And also, in between sessions, you can add whatever info you want on your bio page. Bio should be the only thing that everybody else can see, which kind of sucks in this case. Yeah, so in your character creation, it'll have stat blocks that you can choose. Basically, when you roll, you'll roll 2d6 plus or minus whatever you have under your stats, and that'll apply to virtually everything in the game. And you might get an additional +1 due to something in the past happening. You might get a -1. You might get advantage where you roll twice and take the better roll. We'll just see how that comes up in play. I'm just kind of looking through the handbook here. All right, so yeah, let's go ahead and start working on that character sheet under inside Roll20. And just ask me any questions as they come up. I have all the PDFs open, and I have the book as well. So if you need any help specifically, just let me know.
So what do we put for the stats?
Yeah, I would, well, choose your, lock in your class. So choose whichever class. They should all be on there. It looks like they might be missing the newest one, but that's fine because we're not going to use that anyways. So yeah, choose a class and then lock it so you don't accidentally click off of it because those all want to be clicked. And then that will hopefully give you some of your, like it should unlock the class moves should be associated with it pretty easily and everything. So we'll go through and figure those out. And then lastly, we'll do history, and history will, once we figure out everybody's history, the person who has the highest history score for you will choose one of your stats to highlight. And basically that highlighted stat, you'll get experience whenever you get a +1 to it, and you'll get experience when you roll it.
So the class moves, do we only choose?
That'll depend on the class. So certain classes you'll notice already have some of those like some of those boxes filled in, the checkbox. Otherwise, it'll say, yeah, under moves it'll say,
Like
you know, like for example, the Faceless, you get all basic moves, which everybody gets all basic moves. Choose 3 additional Faceless moves that you'll have.
Okay, so we just choose the amount it says and then fill it in on this sheet?
Right. If you do, you'll probably want a paper copy of this sheet because the Roll20 copy is good, but it could use a little more. So it'll be good to have that backup that you have with yourself that you can kind of update and check on. But we'll get that for the next session. Yeah. In the meantime, just go ahead and choose however many it says. The ones that work for you. Go ahead and kind of fill them in. Let me look at what that looks like. Okay, yeah.
And it has a stat choice underneath the move.
Yeah, all the moves should say. Some of them, if they don't have it, then just leave the move stat. You can put it as whatever you want, I guess.
Okay.
It won't really apply. And then when you get to something like when you're creating your cars, kind of walk through that process out loud just so everybody gets an idea of what your vehicle's going to look like.
does the PDF have a like list of just like a reminder list of what the stats do, or is that just what it says like right next to it?
Yeah, right next to them, those general
like,
moves.
Do something under fire. Is that what I should be looking at to?
Yeah, those are the basic moves.
Okay.
All right, we'll do a little bit of, I guess, world creation.
Can I ask you something real quick?
Yeah.
What would you? Okay, so I'm looking at Look right now. What would you consider display wear?
What would I consider what?
It's for under Look. There's like formal wear, display wear, luxe wear, casual, or showy armor. What when you hear display wear, what do you think?
Yeah, so that's I'm looking at your class. That's the gear section. Is that what you're looking at?
Under Look. So it's man, woman, ambiguous, or transgressing, and then the different types of wear. Because when I'm thinking wear, I'm thinking like full outfit, but I'm thinking like really rugged.
Okay.
But still not like I don't know the right word because I don't want to use.
Yeah, not necessarily like heavy metal magazine, like spiky bras.
Right. I'm not thinking that. I'm thinking like leather, you know, with maybe a few sharp pieces on it, but mostly just like leather and like, you know, like worn, you know, like rough looking. Like she's attractive and she's like I don't know the word. Like,
well, she's attractive in like kind of like in the me and Shannon talking about this every once in a while. It's like the 80s movies way, where like the women were like a lot tougher. A lot of times the love interest was like the main character.
Yeah.
And I mean, they were like a lot more badass, like harder jaws. Like,
yes,
they lived through life a little bit. They weren't like 19 years old or whatever.
Right. Yes.
Yeah. So I'm definitely feeling that.
What would I consider that? Would I consider that display wear? I mean, it's not formal. It's not.
No, that would be like
casual.
Yeah, I would say probably casual. Like when we're looking at armor for everybody. So let me make sure I'm saying this right. 0 armor is like you're wearing a t-shirt, so it's not going to do anything for you. I would not advise getting shot at in it. Otherwise, let me pass through here. The chapter is called Gear and Shit.
Mm-hmm.
Here we go.
I think that's what I need to find.
Weapons and armor. Okay, so so something like fashionable. So like you're wearing something because that's the look that you want to wear. That can be at 1 armor. So if you're wearing like their description is fashion and armor worth 1 armor includes motorcycle jackets, chaps, assless chaps, layers of canvas and leather, armor plates made of plastic barrels, similar stuff like that. That is, it could be fashion, but you know, it offers some protection. It's not just you know, wife beater and some basketball shorts or anything. It's like, you know, something that you would maybe like be comfortable wearing to a riot that you were going to be in, because you know there's some rubber bullets coming.
Right.
So yeah, it can include real armor that you've kind of scavenged up, and then if you do, so that's 1 armor. If you have something in your class that'll give you something that's 2 armor, if you want, it is armor. It's not mistakable for cool clothes. It's definitely armor. So they say it could be real body armor left over from the Golden Age. It could be homemade, flak jackets, riot gear, welding masks, breastplates made of layered stop signs, things like that. There is 3 armor in the game, but it's so extremely rare that, you know, nobody will get that from the start here. You'd have to come across that, and I would say it's semi-unlikely.
Mm-hmm.
That would be like if you find a suit of medieval armor laying around somewhere.
Right.
Or like a bomb squad vest. I mean, depends on where you wander around, I guess.
Like so you've seen Mad Max, like the newer one, right?
Yeah, I was there with you.
Well, she didn't go with us.
Yeah, you guys saw it without me.
Yeah, you're right. That was fucked up.
Yeah, it was. I came home super mad. James said,
I remember that.
Don't worry about it. You didn't want to see it anyways. And then like one day he's like, oh, we're going to sit down and watch this. And I was like, no, I thought I didn't want to see it anyways. And he's like, shut up and watch it. And we watched it. And I was like, yeah, I hate you guys.
To be fair, she probably fell asleep during it.
I did not fall asleep during it. Thank you. It was a good
I don't know how
movie.
you could fall asleep on that one. It's a little too
I
late.
know,
Anyways,
right?
besides your guys' rudeness, like
Yes.
I'm thinking like Charlize Theron in that movie. Like, you know, she wears just like that hardcore, like the rugged look, you know.
Yeah, she's got like some thick padding, and then she's got like some leather armor and straps and stuff. So there's parts of her that have
That's
legitimate
exactly what I'm
armor on it,
saying.
and then there's parts that are just safe. So yeah, that would definitely be like, that would be one armor probably. If you want to argue for 2 armor, you would have to have some kind of piece on you that takes up, I would say, at least 25% of your body. That's like a legitimate piece of armor.
Okay.
So if you wanted to have like a big like metal gauntlet on like your whole left arm,
Right.
and you know, part of your shoulder, that would count. You could do that and have 2 armor if you want.
Okay.
I would probably try to keep that in mind. So like if somebody shoots you in the chest, you're gonna have 1 armor.
Right.
But you know, that's all depending.
Okay.
I mean, also if you have a giant metal arm, you're probably going to put that in the way a lot.
Right.
So you know, that would only be edge cases where I would penalize that.
Okay.
Okay, so you guys all kind of, you're not necessarily friends, you're not necessarily in a team or whatever, but you guys all know each other somehow. So maybe, you know, this will come up in history as well, but you know, maybe you've had you know, maybe you've all done a job in the past, and it doesn't have to be all 4 of you together. It could be like you know, hey MacBeth, like drive this freaky alien thing around. She wants to like go visit her step family in this weird underground den. You know, it could be like, well, especially as a driver, I mean, you could definitely have had a one-off or, you know, 1 or 2sies meeting everybody just on different jobs, or just moving them around. So yeah, you guys all know each other somehow, and that'll come up in history when we're doing that. And otherwise, you're all kind of in the same area. So let me make sure I'm not missing anything in the rules here. But we're gonna kind of create some kind of maybe 1 or 2 settlements that are within the area that you kind of bounce between. Since nobody has the only permanent residence, I think, is the den. So we don't have to be like stuck inside somebody's town or somebody's like gang hideout or anything like that. So we'll just kind of set up city here. And obviously when I say city, like it's not a lot of people.
Settlement.
Yes. More of a bigger than a village, but not by much. Okay.
So I'm making my car on my sheet. I want my main car that I like start out with. It's gonna be a Jeep.
Okay.
And I'm just going through these boxes. I don't see power or armor in the PDF. Like, do you know what those kind of mean?
Yeah, let me
I saw armor and I was wondering that myself. I was like, what
yeah,
stat
that would be
is that?
you know, your vehicle, you know, has the potential to come under attack. So that'll be oh, that's kind of weird. It has car number 2 and car number 3, but I don't see a car number 1. Okay, there it is, your car. All right. Yeah, so it'll come under other things. So like battle options that you choose according to your frame, you might add 1 armor. You might add that twice. If you were making so the Jeep is going to be massive 2, 2 battle options. So if you wanted to, you could choose armor twice. You have to kind of justify that, but you know, I would say probably a Jeep is going to have +1 handling, and I don't know. It'd be up to you if you wanted to do armor, not extra armor or not.
Well, the idea for it, I want it to be kind of like handcrafted. Like I modified it and added plates to the sides and took out some things and added things.
Yeah, so you basically like started with literally just the frame, like this is a Jeep.
Yeah.
Please put tires on it. So you kind of had to like scrabble it together. So yeah, just the fact that it's a Jeep is why I said it would get +1 handling, I imagine. You can go off-road. It's kind of designed to have people be able to jump in and jump out. Aren't they like slightly more likely to roll?
Those are usually like Ford Explorers, kind of more like SUVs.
Yeah, okay.
They're a little more top heavy. Jeeps are usually pretty
very top light
on the top. Yeah, I mean,
in fact, sometimes
the one that I imagine the one that he would want would be lighter on top. I imagine he wouldn't want like a.
Well, that would be my argument to take that +1 handling away. Is that it might roll, which would not be good. So you have to, compensate for that. But I mean, yeah. So I would say definitely for the battle options, when you get to that, I would do +1 handling.
So what should I be putting in power and the armor, in the power slot and the armor slot? Just leave those blank.
Yeah. Where's it? Sorry, I'm just looking at it. Is it in the PDF? Sorry, not the PDF. Is it in the character sheet where it has?
Yeah, I'm just filling in the blanks here.
There's power. I don't know why it has that. Oh, that should be massive. That'll be massive in the PDF. Speed, handling, armor, massive.
Okay.
Frame, power, armor, looks. That's weird. That is missing stuff. That's annoying.
I'm not sure if weakness actually comes into play, but I chose loud.
Yeah, that'll, I mean, certainly when you're in a town where you guys are known, that won't be a problem. Issues might crop up from there, if you guys are trying to like sneak by, the Jeep might not be the one you want to take. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Can I ask something?
Yeah.
Okay, so if I pick a base for a weapon, and it has two, say it has 2 negative things. So say it has like far and loud.
Mm-hmm.
But I pick something for my options that gives me close and silenced, so minus loud. That's gonna cut out the negative for that, right?
Yeah, I mean that could definitely be,
Okay.
you're a character that understands her weapons,
Right.
So yeah, let's say if you had like a shotgun, that could definitely be. If you added far to it and it's already at close, I would say it would probably stay close. I don't think you could add far to something.
Right.
But if there's something like particularly bad, so I'm trying to look at where.
You're fine. I think I have it. I just wanted to be sure that that's how it works. So if I have a negative, and it's something that I can pick for it.
Yeah, if you wanted to do like 2 bonuses, you could do silence twice, and it would be silenced. It would get rid of the loud. And yeah, it actually, depending on which one you're looking at, sometimes it'll say that. Like on the PDF, it says like silenced or in parentheses minus loud.
Right.
So you can get rid of the loud trait, and then you can add silence if you wanted to or whatever.
Okay.
So how do you determine this harm area? I was kind of looking through it, and I was like,
oh, is that your
what?
personal health?
I think so.
The one that's on the like underneath name, look, stats, harm on the main character sheet.
Yeah, mine from like across the top. If you're looking at Roll20, it has stats, class moves, and then harm.
Oh,
on
yes.
the right.
Yeah, I see. Yeah.
Like,
let me look into that a little more. I think it doesn't say anything in the character building PDF, does it?
all of them look the same. There's nothing like ticked on or ticked off.
It doesn't mention harm, or it doesn't mention harm anywhere over there. So
yeah.
Yeah, let me look into that. Yes, 202.
And the same with improvements. I'm like,
yeah, that'll come
like
later.
Checked. Okay.
Each time you level up, you'll potentially get an improvement. That's kind of dependent on your class as well. Under the PDF, it has improvement under the creation area.
Right.
So you'll get, when you hit you'll get every time you get 5 experience, you'll choose one of the improvement options.
Oh, okay. So should I just put experience? Like, should I have a check mark on Roll20 on the first one, or should I have no check marks?
It'll be 0 to start with.
Oh, I see.
Does it have any of them checked already? Okay.
No, I didn't realize you could check multiples at the same time until I said it.
Yeah, you'll just build it up, count them off.
Cool.
What is Okay, so for custom hand weapons, what is hand and then hand area? Like, what's the difference?
Basically, hand would be like, let's say you have a knife. When you swing a knife, you're probably just going to hit one person if it's going to do any real damage.
So the area is just range.
So area would be, you have like a sword, and a sword, as it's cutting, is not just going to stop the first person it hits. It's going to keep the swing going. So you might be able to hit 2 or 3 people. So that would basically be the area. It's up to you, but it could be everybody within arm's length. You just spin around like a tornado and slice up. So.
Okay, that's what I thought.
What weapons do you have built so far that are your kind of trademark weapon?
Can I just keep this to myself? Or do I have to share? No, it's okay.
Well,
give me just a minute.
Well,
I'm working on my hand weapon, and then I'll tell you.
Yeah, I was gonna say you can certainly keep it to yourself, like the specifics of it. But if you have like a machete on your back, everybody knows it's a machete.
Right. I'm going.
What is that?
For firearms, I'm going base shotgun, and for custom hand weapons, I'm going base chain.
Okay.
I'll share the rest.
Ghost Rider over here.
All right.
Wait, what is a throne stone?
What is what?
Throne stone?
Just throwing
rock that you throw?
Oh yes, yeah.
It's like very particular though. I'm like,
yeah. I thought you meant throne, like that a king sits on.
No, that'd be cool though.
I throw a throne at them.
Does everybody have different things under their weapons they can choose for each class?
Sort of. Some of them are pretty general, like the non-combat focused classes just have like some basic, pistols and possibly shotguns or whatever.
My character sheet doesn't have any like spot for weapons. Do I just put that under gear?
You don't have it under other?
No, I have other moves. That's all I have. Class moves.
Yeah, that would
moves.
basically keep that under gear and stuff. Like, you'll have to know what kind of damage it does, and we'll probably go in at some point and add we'll probably add other moves for the weapons. That's like, okay, this is my shotgun. It does 3 harm. It's loud, so we'll be able to roll with it that way. Choose the stat and roll that stat, and make sure it works properly. So basically, just for harm, like everybody has essentially the same amount of life. So that countdown is literal. Everybody has 12 points. It's kind of like a doomsday clock is the idea there. Mm-hmm. So, if you take a shotgun blast, this is of course debatable, but you take 3 hit, 3 harm. If you have armor, that'll always reduce 1, or however much you have. So if you have armor that's worth 2, and somebody punches you, unarmed, which is 1 harm, it's not going to be able to hurt you. That said, weapons can have armor piercing, so they'll just totally ignore your armor. Certain things that happen to you, your armor is not going to help. If you fall off a roof and take 4 harm in a fall, it doesn't matter that you have armor on, and in fact, it might hurt you. So,
so we just fill that thing up to 12?
Each segment of that is harm. So if you were to take 3 harm, you would fill in between 12 and 3. You would fill in between 3 and 6, and you'd fill in between 6 and 9. But each of those smaller slices of the pie are only 1 harm each. So once you get to your final quarter of health, your health basically gets multiplied by 3.
I see.
Just to you're fighting to stay alive, and you're really doing some weird shit to not die.
So if you take 1 harm, then you're ultimately taking 3 harm.
Sort of in the beginning. Yeah. So you're just taking that first section out.
And what about the icons on Roll20? I mean, they're the same as the harm icons on the PDF, but it's like
as you click them, they'll kind of fill up the clock. So like if you take 1 harm, you're checked on 0 originally. If you take 1 harm to start the game, you're gonna go to 3. Right. And that's just gonna keep track until something happens where you can kind of step that back. So like you rest, then you do some basic medical to treat yourself, you're back to 0. So that'll keep a running tally of that. And also, like I said, basically you can take 5 harm, and some things they do in the beginning, like if you're not talking about armor or anything, they say like there's some things that can just outright fully kill you if you do it. Like, I mean, if you jump off a skyscraper, like, sorry, you took like 1 million harm, you're dead. So the 5 harm and more, they put down big explosions, and another good example, being tied down and chopped in half with an axe.
That'll do it.
Like, it doesn't really matter. Like, you're just dead at that point, or you're so maimed that you're gonna have some extreme stuff. And they have there under the harm section, like when life is untenable. Yeah. So that would be if you take that 12th damage, or that that final harm, you can come back. Like that -1 hard is basically like there's something missing from your body. Change a new playbook is just you're someone else now. Right. Come back with +1 weird. So like the world kind of decided that the maelstrom decided that you're not gone yet. Or just die and move on. I mean,
what should we have? Do we get to choose that? Do we pick one of those?
Sort of. I mean, it's going to depend. So we don't really out to annihilate people. So that generally you'll be choosing. If you take 5 harm and just get wiped out, it's probably going to be your guys' fault. So, if it's okay, you guys walk up to a god level creature and somebody's like, oh, I shoot him in the balls, everybody's going to die and it's your fault. So I'm not worried about that. Certainly we could do some weird things change to a new playbook. I mean, that could be as simple as your faceless character dies and somebody else comes upon the mask, and it wasn't that your character was crazy and he thought the mask was real. The mask is really alive, and it takes over a new host. Right.
And that's the kind of stuff I was trying to think about. I'm like, how does that?
Are you Jim Carrey?
The Mask, 2, Son of Mask.
Electric
Overrated. Should not have been made. Okay, yeah. So let's talk a little about the settlement, unless anybody else has.
Let me ask one more question. And I think you touched on this, but what exactly is hold?
Hold is you'll have it forever, basically. So if it says hold 1, you have an additional 1 point that you can drop whenever you want on something on a roll.
Does that tell me on my thing what it is?
It should mention if it's is it in a class move?
Is it in a what?
Is it in a class move? Where are you finding hold?
I'm just looking at my character sheet right now, and it just says where I'm filling in other HX, gear and barter, hold.
Oh,
and then
that probably means if you have a house or a base or something. So we'll hit that later.
Okay. And what are we doing for improvements?
That'll come later. That's
Okay.
after you start leveling up.
Okay.
I do
I'm
have a
good then.
class move that has I can't find a stat that it goes with. Like
Oh yeah, there's several of those. Let me
like I have a move called Rasputin. I don't like I like
Yeah.
it, but I don't know. It
Well,
just says +1 armor. So I'm like, okay.
Yeah, you won't ever that one won't be rolled. Like you'll notice the moves actually have like a D20 icon there.
Yeah.
So you can just roll straight off the move. Since that is you never have to roll for that, it's just something that you'll keep in mind. So like in that Rasputin, for instance, I'll read that off so everybody knows what I'm talking about. Shot, stabbed, poisoned, you just keep coming. When you're being scary as fuck and coming at someone, you get +1 armor. So basically, as long as you're the aggressor, you're going to get a +1 armor. You still get shot and stabbed, but bleeding just doesn't bother you that much anymore. So, you don't have to make a roll there. You don't have to, it's not going to use any of your stats or anything. So you can just put whichever one you like. If there's one that, like, I think it's funny every time I see hard. So you can just put hard there if you want.
I kind of have the same situation with a move I chose, Daredevil. Because if you go straight into danger without hedging your bets, you get +1 armor.
Right. Yeah, similar. So, yeah, that kind of stuff, like, you just keep it in mind, and having it written out for yourself there is going to help. Oh, shit, I just saw something. It's gone. Forgotten.
And should I add out other moves? It says, like, of course it says all the other... You have access to all the other moves. Like, what do I...
Oh, the basic moves, you can just keep that in mind. That's at the bottom first PDF. That's just the normal stuff. I mean, I have like a appendix, or I guess an index of all the moves. A lot of times you guys will be saying things like, okay, I'm going to run up and punch this guy, and then I'll know sucker someone, and I'll just have you roll for that. So you guys don't have to fill in the basic moves unless there's something that you just don't want to have to type in the roll for and you do it constantly.
Mm-hmm.
Then I guess it would be a good idea to keep an eye on it.
And where do I get other things as well? Like under gear, it says you get 1 brutal weapon, which I see. But then I get fashion suitable to your look, including
yeah, that'll just go under armor. That'll just go under gear as well. You'll just give yourself the 1 or 2 armor. And it's, kind of like when Ashley was asking about the clothing. It's just kind of up to you. You'll document that in looks as much as the look matters.
Mm-hmm.
But other than that, it's just,
and then
it essentially exists in your head.
Oddman's worth 2 barter.
Yeah, you'll want to track that. Let me see where barter is on this.
It says barter really big underneath, but
yeah, gear and barter. Yeah, you'll just keep that listed. Basically, we might put that under hold since nobody has like a holding. Yeah, maybe let's put barter under hold for now. So everybody, like, it'll say things like you have shit with your character worth 2 or 3 or 4 or whatever barter. Put that under the hold section under other on your character sheet, since nobody's going to use that for now at least. And basically at the beginning of the session, not this session, but in future sessions, I'll ask, how's your living situation? And to be normal, everybody's going to spend 1 barter.
Except I can choose to spend 0 barter.
Right, because you're a weird
survive happily on like eating metal or people.
Pigeons and shit.
Yep.
It's fucked up. You're disgusting.
You're welcome.
I watched her eat a car, like with a fork.
Jesus. You better fucking keep a peeper on that Jeep.
Yeah, I'm just going to be eating like the insulation of the seats.
Jesus, God.
She's on the other side just chewing on a fender.
That's why I make Shannon sit
in from there.
I'm fucking afraid of her. Okay, so let's say okay, so this town, we'll just start as basic as possible. We'll just start with 1 town. There might be another one if people want to push that. So how many people are going to live in this town? The game stipulates that a small holding is like 60 to 80 people. That might even be a little big, depending. If we want to do 2 towns, it could totally make sense to have each one have like 45 people or more, which would make it a relatively well-populated area, to be honest. I'm just looking at some of the other stuff they have. So yeah, the more people there are, the more disease there's going to be as well. So does anybody have any kind of specific preference?
Sorry, I was filling out my last little piece.
Yeah.
I'm good to go though. Preference on what? Sorry.
The number of people that are going to be in this town.
It's kind of a side thing. We have like 4 people playing. I wondered if Austin, you should take up the class of like the guy who like runs a town, and just kind of be like the quest giver.
Yeah, that guy exists. So like he'll just be an NPC basically.
Are you trying to make him like Slink?
Yeah.
Are you trying to make him like Slink? Is that what you're doing?
No. Slink. Just like there's a show.
If you guys have seen Blood Drive,
Yeah.
it's Slink is the headmaster basically.
Or like Gary Oldman and
he's literally
and,
that Slink guy's his title is
badass.
His title is actually Master of Ceremonies.
Right.
So it's kind of ironic that.
MC.
But
is that what he goes by? That's funny.
Yeah, and
that could be a reference. This game's pretty popular.
It could be, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, like, there's certainly going to be the guy that runs. If you've seen, that's what I was saying, Gary Oldman in Book of Eli. What's the guy? I'm terrible with the character names in Mad Max because nobody ever says anything out loud. The gas mask fucking old dude in Mad Max that like runs the harem. That's certainly more of a warlord. Like, I think you're probably not going to want to be in like a town that's held by a warlord militia, just because that's a good way to get killed really quickly.
You're talking about Immortan Joe?
Yes, Immortan Joe. That's right. Joe. That's the name I would choose for myself if I had to choose one. Joe. Okay, so let's
I'm really feeling this. I'm really feeling this idea of like you creating that character and just being called Average Joe.
Average Joe. I'm just an AJ. It works. I got the initials for it.
Hey.
Hey, does anyone want to hear about my den?
Yes.
Yeah, that sounds horrifying.
Okay. Thank you. I chose my 3 features, and I think they're perfect. One is away into a terrifying place of death where countless skeletons lie.
Oh my god.
The next one is some uncertain number of your siblings and kind, no 2 look alike. Next one is a calendar perfectly preserved showing beautiful people in beautiful places.
What year is the calendar?
I don't know. It has to be old, like really old, but it's perfectly preserved.
Give it put it in like 1986.
Like it was like water and food, but then I was like, wait, I can just eat rocks.
Yeah.
The calendar's date really doesn't matter. I think they're just looking at it like food. They're just like, oh, look how perfectly preserved those people are. I could
1960s pinup.
Yeah, do that. That's
nice.
Good. God, that's horrific. So like it's like a burrow, and there's like hands and shit just like laying around. There's like a skull. That's a nightmare.
I like to think just full skeletons.
Just all over the place. God.
I'm not sure if I would want to visit on purpose.
No.
Okay, well, I'll enjoy my shelter and my skeletons all to myself and my siblings, and you're not allowed in.
I feel like my
Thank
character
God.
would be going. You'd be like, yeah, why not? Let's
Maybe if it
see
acid
what's
rains,
happening.
then seek shelter there.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe that's how all those skeletons got there.
Well, you know, some child things do eat people, so like.
Yeah. Some.
Some.
I wouldn't know who.
I have
Not
many
specifying.
siblings.
Okay, so yeah, so the default size of like a small town would be 60 to 80 people. If you want it to be a bigger population, they have 100, but there's there's like a chance of them getting different diseases, and that's probably a bigger target because 100 people means that much more money. If it's a smaller population, it's like 25 to 30. But then they remove, they no longer have the want of anxiety. So like they're not so nervous because they could pack up and move pretty easily.
I think default sounds good for a first town. I don't know about anybody else.
Yeah, that sounds fine.
Seconded.
Okay, so we'll do, let's do,
I'll force it.
there's going to be 76 people that live in this town now that it's been forced.
Is there a soldier there?
I mean, yeah, this town does have some security.
That was a joke. You said 76.
Oh, okay. I got it.
Yeah. I don't think you bought that game yet.
No, I've played it.
Hey, can I ask something? I know we're in the middle of something, but
Yeah, that's fine.
I'm picking my 2 extra moves.
Mm-hmm.
And when it says stat,
Yes.
what I put in stat is where it says roll plus and then whatever that plus is. So
Right.
roll plus hot. So I would pick hot because it's saying roll plus hot, correct?
Right. Yeah, that's the thing we were talking about when some of them don't reference it at all, and then you just put anything because it doesn't really matter.
Okay.
That just makes it easier to roll for you.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep. Okay, so
What if it has 2? Sorry.
What was that?
What if it has 2? Because I have the one that I picked, it's when you do this, it's roll plus cool. When you do this, it's roll plus HX. Should I just put cool since it's the first one?
Yeah, you'll be able.
Because
actually,
I don't have HX. Never
okay,
mind.
it doesn't even have that option. So yeah, you'll just keep that in mind.
Okay.
Okay, so are you guys I guess what kind of environment are you in? Is it like, semi-Midwest US style? Is it is it out in the woods? Is it in a kind of a flat expanse? Is it cold? Is it hot? Is it
I feel like
what kind of seasons are there?
I feel like that should be up to Shannon based on her den.
I was thinking like a Colorado type of region where there's like mountains, but there's also plains and weather.
So the hills have eyes. Okay.
Uh-huh. Well, you're the dude, and she's the people that live there.
Yeah, there you go.
This is a nightmare. Okay, so it's mountainous. It's is it would there have been a city here before the apocalypse? Or
yes. Ooh, let's make it Boulder. I love Boulder.
Well, that's a massive city.
Not a specific.
Well, not only that, but also like there'd be some like extremely advanced technology right outside of Denver. You know what I mean? So like I don't want to put you guys right next to and I mean most likely there's a lot of intelligence that says that there's some like incredibly advanced military bunkers in the Rocky Mountains. So
that's fine.
I mean that could be cool to be nearby something like that. It would not be good for you guys to be in Denver or Boulder or one of those areas, just because like that's just too populous. So you can be like several days travel away. But yeah, so basically what I was asking was this area originally just out in the middle of fucking nowhere and people just stopped there and set up a town, or are there some old ruins of old buildings? And this is for everybody can answer.
I would say just go with like a pretty small town with some like building ruins and
Okay.
that. I mean,
yeah, like this isn't going to be like ruins that you guys are sent to go explore. Like this town's developed,
yeah.
So
It's been like it's been destroyed and then slightly built back on top of. It could be like
possibly a couple times.
Yeah, like it could be like a trading post between a place like I don't know, Boulder, wherever,
Right. Okay. So it's I mean it's not forested, but there are forests nearby. Probably. It's also got some flat areas. I'm gonna say not cliffs in this area. That's just kind of hard to deal with, I think.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's hills, there's mountains, there's valleys, there's flat lands. So that I think that's all you need, and that's within probably a couple days distance around. This is the main. There might be a cabin here that someone lives, a weird watchtower that somebody built, things like that. But this is the main town within at least a few days in every direction. What is the point of the town? Is the town, I guess, like, is it a trading post? Is it like a stop along a more important road, which sounds like you guys might be leaning towards? Is it like this just so happens to be like a watering hole? So people stop by here because it's got good natural supplies. Is it very defensible? So people ended up there because maybe it's kind of shoved up against, like a inaccessible part of like the base of a mountain or something. I'm sure there's other options, but that's just what I can think of.
Yeah, I mean that could be cool. Like it has a little bit of like shade from being at the base of a large mountain, or like a wall that was either eroded or before it was kind of like cut almost.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I see it
like
as having
dug out
like
kind of.
Yeah, it's like it's not like on the side of a mountain. I mean, this, especially in the U.S. at least, like as you're going up to the mountains, it's not like here's the plains and then here's a mountain and it's weird. Like you're just going uphill all the time, and it's like such a small gradient. It's like 2 or 3 degrees until you eventually get to these like little fingers sticking up. So it's got like a bit of a sheer wall on one side. Maybe when the apocalypse happened, maybe a long time ago before that, there was like a landslide or something that kind of almost made it perfectly vertical on that part. And it's just so defensible that people couldn't really give it up. So I would say it's like a minor trade town. But yeah, it's kind of like, it's just very defensible. Like we said, there's a little bit of old ruins. So like there's some brick here and there that have existed. So, people kind of like tapped into that as they were building in this, setting up this town. Probably, this town's probably been here for quite a while. It's not brand new or anything like that. Let me look at the book here. How long has everybody been in this area? I think Scab has probably been here its whole life. Their whole life, I should say. Obviously because the den's right there, and they were probably created by some kind of creature already in that den. especially if it's got those old bones in it. But yeah, everybody else. Did anybody just show up?
I would say my character's probably been there for a little bit. Probably was going to a different place and then just kind of lost focus.
Okay.
I would say MacBeth pulled up like he usually does, finds a good place to store his vehicle and just stays off the road for about a week. So I'd say I'd probably been there about a week, just resting up.
Okay.
I've been there just a few months. Like, I was in the process of traveling and I kind of ended up here, and it's one of those things where I'm just here and I'm, you know, exploring and everything.
All right. Okay. How long has this town known about Scab and their family? Shannon. How long has this town known about Scab and Scab's family, or do they?
Not getting anything from her.
Okay, the mic's not picking you up, Shannon. I can hear you talking through the wall, so I wasn't sure. Not hearing it. Either try to disconnect and then click back in, or you might want to restart it. Not the computer, but the web page.
Kyle, do you see your character is just passing through? Or
Me?
yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like routine for me. I'll stop in a town and stay for about a week and then just keep moving on. I guess I would be just traveling maybe like south for some reason. Like I think I need to. But
Yeah,
I don't know why.
Hello?
Hey,
There you are.
there it is.
Okay.
Okay, so I'll just ask again, just so we're for continuity, I guess. So, how long has this town known about Scab and Scab's family, or do they know about them at all?
They're like aware, and they've been aware of my family, but my family doesn't really associate with. But like child things have the ability to shapeshift, so like appear normal and go into the town, but kind of like incognito.
Okay.
So I've been to town, but not as Scab.
All right. So like maybe there's like a couple people in the town that are like, they kind of have like sort of like an alien fixation. They're like, no, dude, I'm telling you, I saw this like thing like crawling around on the ground, like eating pigeons. I don't know why I'm obsessed with eating pigeons.
Yeah, why do you care about pigeons? Like, I can eat electricity. That's
did
cool
that happen
as
in something? Is there like a movie where somebody bites the head off a pigeon or something? That was Ozzy Osbourne.
Ozzy did that once. Yeah, it was a bat.
Shit.
He
But
did
anyways,
to a dove too, didn't he?
That's
It
what
was
I
just a
thinking
bat.
of.
It was on accident.
Yeah, he thought it was a
How
fake
do you
bat.
He thought it was
Yeah.
a prop.
I was like, how do you accidentally just like bite a bat's
The
head?
real
It
question is,
doesn't just
how
like
was
fly
it-
into your mouth.
How is there just a bat?
I mean, it's
I'd get the
just-
fuck out of there if I was a bat. But yeah, so like, you know, there's people that are like, I've seen these like little pale like weirdo things like crawling around and shit. And then, you know, every once in a while, like somebody like a stranger will walk into town and be like, I need to buy eggs. Give eggs, please. Here's a dead rat. Please give me eggs. and it's this like total weirdo shit going on, and they're like, okay, and the person just like walks out of town barefoot and never comes back. So they're like, there's definitely some weird shit out there, but it's not a threat. And I think most of the people in the town think that that's not real.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like, kind of like a myth. Like, they're aware that there's some freaky shit, but like not everyone believes there's some freaky shit.
Yeah, like they're like, okay, there is a chupacabra outside of town, but it's not. It doesn't do anything. It's fine.
Yeah.
Like, I've never seen it. We don't know for sure. It's just probably out there. Okay, I like that. That's good. Because it's is there like an individual in town that Scab will go to? Like one person that's like, okay, I can see past the weirdness, and it's like, you know, it's just people trying to do their thing out there. I don't have anything against them.
There could be.
Okay, we'll see if that comes up.
Okay.
Okay, so I guess otherwise, you know, we have some people that have kind of, they're not really sure how long they've been here. Somebody's been here for, you know, between a week and a couple months. Is everybody ready to? Has everybody pretty much got their character worked out?
Yep.
I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, there's things
let's get into the
that I don't fully understand, I guess, but I guess we'll.
Yeah, I mean, we're not going to.
Like, I don't know what
like full PlayStation.
HX is. I just
Yeah,
kind of copy. That's the history you said?
Yeah.
Oh.
So yeah, you'll yeah, let's set up the history. So this is, I mean, you know, these characters, they don't all have to know each other, but they have to all know somebody. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So yeah, everybody's under, you know, creating a class, creating this character, or creating a, you know, insert class name. They have the HX section. So different peoples will say different things, and it there's gonna be a lot of things that are like, who helped me once, who hurt me once, different things like that, and you'll assign scores to everybody. So basically, what you'll do is under that section of your character sheet, you'll basically go like HX. You'll type in, for example, MacBeth right now. You'll type in like Scab HX equals 1 or something like that. That'll probably be +1. So like if you have that, yeah, it's plus. So that would basically mean like every time you hit, I believe it's every time you hit 5, just like with experience. Every time you hit 5 history with somebody, you'll gain an experience, and basically you'll be able to reset that to, you know, they helped me, so I have a +1 with them or whatever.
Yeah, I was thinking Ribbone, Jay's character, might know me, like be able to see through the persona just because, you know, he's faceless.
He has the idea of like, he knows personas pretty good, yeah.
Fair enough.
Okay, so yeah, somebody go ahead and read one of their, whatever the first section of their HX part of create a character, and we'll figure out how that went.
Okay. Okay. Go
mine
ahead.
says, which one of you once got me out of some serious shit? That's one of 3 questions I have for mine.
Okay. So you can offer an idea if you have one. If somebody else has an idea, they can offer that up. And it could have been very recent since you've only been here for a little while.
Yeah, I feel like my character would be more likely to get you into shit than out of shit.
Right.
Babe would probably.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like it would be Ashley's.
So that could have just happened. What was the story behind that, Ashley?
What? I'm sorry. I was pulling my stuff up. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's fine. Basically, you once. Well, can you say what was the question again? Who once got you out of some shit?
Which one of you once got me out of some serious shit?
Okay, yeah. So, Alvara, I think that, like, I agree with you guys. I think that's the good random option there. So, I guess what do you think? What kind of shit did you get him out of a week ago, or in the past? Because you guys are both the main travelers, I think. So,
yeah.
It could have been like you came across each other in the past.
Yeah.
Like my original idea is like maybe his car broke down or something, and he was surrounded by something, and that's the reason he's at the town, because she was there, and she's like, oh yeah, you can, bunk here, get your car fixed, stay the week or whatever.
Okay.
Well, if we're gonna go down that line, like his car broke down and some serious shit. There were like people around or something. I mean, being that I have that whole, like the tempting side where like people are like, oh, look at her kind of thing, but then like the badass behind it, kind of like, I don't want to say trance, I don't know, but like where you kind of tempt somebody and they're kind of like, oh, look, she's so, she's a female, she's so perfect, and then I'm just like, fuck them up, kind of thing.
What about, like, maybe you were with the raiders that were stalking him, and then you were just like, you know what, fuck these guys, and you helped them get rid of the raiders.
I mean, it could be like, it doesn't necessarily, I mean, your character is violent, so, it's up to you, but it doesn't necessarily have to be like, I decided that, like, I want somebody with a car on my side, not a bunch of, like, douchebags, so I killed them all. It could be like, okay, guys, I don't think we need to get this guy. Like, he doesn't really have anything other than his cars, and it's broken down. So let's just scoot along.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that's well, I imagine that's like +2 or +3.
That's +1. Do I need to do the other 2 questions?
Yeah, go ahead.
Wait, so I put what's your character's name, Ashley?
Alvara.
Yeah.
So I just put Alvara +1.
Alvara, HX +1, yeah. I guess you don't really have to have HX since it's under that section. So it's up to you, I guess.
Okay, my next one says, which one of you has been with me for days on the road? So somebody would be traveling with me the past week.
Or maybe you took your car out for a test drive. Now that it's been fixed. And somebody went out and hung out with you. I could definitely see Ribbone doing that. Like, hey, I'm going to go run my car around. Does anybody want to, like, come protection?
Okay.
And Ribbone's like, is there possibly some fucking bullshit I can get up to out there? Yeah. There's a bear shit in the woods? I'm in.
You said you've been at the... How long have you been at the town, Ribbone?
Undetermined amount of time. At least since this new persona has come through.
Yeah, if you were to ask people in town, there'd be a couple people that are like, oh, the first time I saw him was about a month ago. And somebody'd be like, I think I only saw him like a week ago. I think he just showed up here. And then if you ask somebody else, they're like, I'm not sure who's wearing that mask, but I think he was born here.
Like, I swear I saw him, but he looked like a different. Maybe that was a different person. Like that kind of thing. But they're like, what are the odds of there being two weird masked people running around here?
I think they're very like guarded. The people of the town are very guarded around Ribbone. They don't want to they don't hang out with him. They don't drink with him at the bar. They might actually, this might come up, but like they might charge more because they're just like, we don't have that. And he's like, well, I know you have a gun. And they're like, no, we don't have any guns. It's like, I can see the gun on the wall. And they're like, it's $50. So, they might be kind of like shitty about it. So yeah, I can definitely see that. So go ahead and mark that one.
Okay.
Do I mark anything on that one?
Not yet.
Okay.
The last one is kind of vague. It just says, which one is I caught staring at the horizon sometimes.
No, boom. That's Scab. Easy.
That's Scab. That's me.
Okay.
Staring at the horizon, staring straight up in the air.
Staring at the horizon, on the horizon.
Being the horizon, transforming into the horizon. You gotta be the marble!
When do these HX bonuses come into play? Like, what's this?
Yeah, basically, you'll be able to use those to help or interfere, or certain other circumstances. So, like who has the highest bonus of that group?
Scab has +3 for staring at things.
Okay, that's how you get a bonus.
Oh wow!
Nah,
it's not necessarily good. It can be bad because you can use that basically like if Scab is like this is freaking me out. I'm gonna burrow underground. You can counter that and be like, you know what? I'm going to interfere with that. I'm going to use my +3 bonus to say, no, dude, you can't like stay hidden. You got to go out there. You know what I mean? Or you could.
Okay, just so you know, I can withdraw. Like, I can use Mother's Heartbeat to withdraw into the Maelstrom.
Yeah.
and just disappear and heal myself. So that's probably what I would do as opposed
in
to
combat,
burrowing, which is fair.
yeah, Scab can literally like they get sucked into like an extra dimensional plane to like chill out for a little bit.
So HX it's kind of like influence score for each.
Yeah, sort of. It's like it's a combination of like your character might know what they're gonna do. So you can be like, okay, I know that this little rat bastard's gonna like climb under the porch. So when I open my back door, I know my one cat's gonna try to get out. So I just have a hand ready to like smash his spine in half if he tries to make a run for it.
Jesus Christ.
Dumb.
You know what I mean? Like you just have it. Like you're ready to help or hurt because you know what's up, basically. And then like I said, in certain circumstances, I'm gonna be a little more I think than the rule necessarily has in mind, where I'm going to be like, if you see that Scab's about to get crushed by a boulder or something, you can use that +3 to help yourself to help them. You know what I mean? So it's not necessarily like I get a +3 bonus to like shove them out of the way. It might be I get a +3 bonus to jump and dive and get us both out of there. So, yeah.
So
who wants to do their history next?
Oh,
does it have more?
It just says ask the character with the highest HX, which is my most interesting stat, and then highlight it.
Okay, yeah. We'll do that at the beginning of every match too.
Okay.
That's what that highlight thing is for the stats. So yeah.
Is that me? Do I answer that?
Yeah, go ahead, I guess.
Can I do cool? Because MacBeth seems pretty freaking cool.
Yeah. So yeah, go ahead and highlight that cool stat for now.
Okay.
Oh, and make sure you grab one of those sets off your character creation for your stats.
Oh, just choose one and fill the numbers.
Yeah, it has it under creating. Yeah, no matter what, your cool is gonna be +2, so that's good. Okay, who's gonna do their history next?
I mean, I would, but here's my problem. When I look at mine under HX, there's no questions.
What?
There are no questions under mine.
Look at that. That's on the PDF.
I'm on the PDF.
Okay, yeah, you're right.
There's no questions for mine.
I
I was looking at other ones to make sure I was looking at the right spot, and they all under HX have questions, but mine has nothing. I mean, it's just you're indifferent to what is safe and drawn to what is not. On the other's turns, answer their questions as you like. At the end, choose one of the characters with the highest HX on your sheet. Ask that player which of your stats is most interesting and highlight it.
Okay,
I mean,
yeah.
No
okay, it does have. Okay, so you'll have. So all you have is trust. So you basically are going to ask everybody else, who can I trust? Who can't I trust? And whoever you can trust gets +1. Whoever you -1. Whoever you can trust gets -1. Whoever you can't trust gets +3.
Okay.
So yeah, the minuses are where you're going penalize the other person.
Okay.
The pluses are when you're going to help them. So yeah, I guess who can Alvara trust? Who can she trust?
Probably not me.
Okay, so you get a +3.
I feel like I don't know. I feel like I'm like right in the middle. It's like I'm unpredictable, but it depends the scenario.
Mm-hmm.
You know? I feel like she could trust MacBeth.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking that because of our interaction.
Right.
I guess getting information from the other players on what you have heard of my character. Do you think her character could trust my character?
I would think that she should probably put that she can't, because when we're talking about trust here, like this is like, can I trust you with my life? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
I was leaning towards can't.
Yeah, like do you have my best interest in mind? Like I think MacBeth doesn't really seem like super violent or anything. I think MacBeth's just kind of out to kind of like find his place in the world.
I have no reason to double cross anybody.
Yeah, like MacBeth is not predisposed to like fuck somebody over necessarily. if you have like a huge advantage, like if you'll like if it'll really help you out and like keep you safe to throw somebody under the bus, that you'll do that. But otherwise, it's like there's no reason that you would do it for nothing, you know. Whereas, you know, Ribbone might be trustworthy, but you just inherently can't trust him because it's like, what does that mask want to do? You know what I mean? Like it's not a human intelligence. It's very alien. So it kind of makes you want to, like, you can trust him, but not as far as you can throw him. You know what I mean?
Right.
My first class move is called Norman.
Yeah, I love that.
Probably not good.
No. Be normal, Norman. Has anybody seen The Good Doctor? I heard it was good, but I really don't know about that.
I have it on the DVR, but I haven't watched it yet.
Yeah, it's not catching me.
I started watching bits and pieces of it, and it was just like, and they're like, oh, it's kind of like House. And I'm like, well, I liked House, but, you know, I don't know. I don't know that I can separate Freddie Highmore from Norman Bates.
I know.
To an autistic doctor.
Right.
Like, I'm just going to be honest. Like, I've worked in the special needs field, so, I mean, I don't know all about autism, let's be real, but I know a lot about autism, because my main client was moderately autistic. Well, severely, they said. But I'm just like, I don't know. It's an interesting concept, but I need to sit down and try to watch it.
Yeah, I agree.
I'll let you know.
Okay.
Please do.
What is... Oh, okay.
The Orville's good. That's my answer to that.
I really want to see that.
It's
I want to see the new Star Trek too, but it's not on streaming on anything, I don't think.
I laughed for 8 minutes at a potato head, Mr. Potato Head joke.
New Star Trek's not streaming?
Hold on a second. Do you have... You guys don't have cable, do you?
No.
Okay,
no.
We'll talk later. I'll hook you up. Don't worry.
Okay, that's good. Glad we got that. Everybody live, go ahead and throw a hot like on me getting some fucking illicit shit.
It's legal. It's illegal.
No comment. Okay, so let's have Ribbone's history. I'm interested.
Oh,
all right.
Even what these questions are.
My first question is, which one of you helped me do something terrible?
Oh my god.
Oh, buddy. Probably me.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
I want to hear a description of that. It doesn't have to be specific. It doesn't have to be like, we ate a dude. But, like, give me some fucked up details on that.
Man, I didn't really think about it.
Yeah. I feel like maybe something went down in the woods. Like, somebody was where they shouldn't have been. And I think Ribbone was just happened to be walking around. And then he saw, like, this little weird, like, monkey alien monster go crawling over to see what's up. There was, like, pigeon corpses everywhere.
Maybe, like, you saw me getting attacked, and you were like, this poor child. So you, like, helped kill a dude, but I was like, I attacked that dude so I could eat him.
Oh, it was actually, like, a let me in type thing? Of, like, you jumped on a dude in the sewer?
Oh, yeah.
And you were like, I need to save this child.
Well, I can see that. I guess, yeah, that's interesting. And, like, even once he realized that the kid was the aggressor, it's still like, well, you know, I already started busting this guy's skull in, so.
Yeah, sounds good. Thought I was helping her escape an attacker when really she was just trying to eat him, and then I was like, well, fuck it, I've come so far, I'm this far. What am I gonna do, turn around?
Yeah.
I let you, like, steal his shoes, so that was nice of me.
Yeah, I got some new shoes because they wouldn't sell to me in the shop.
Air Force Ones. Okay, yeah, go ahead.
All right,
that's
give me
plus
1
3.
second.
Just so everybody knows.
Just kind of filling this in.
Yeah.
Just so everyone knows, I'm super pumped about this.
Oh, I bet the Child Things ones are fucked up.
Kinda. It's just one question
Okay, that's disturbing.
for everyone.
All right, and the next one is, which one of you was once kind and unafraid toward me?
Probably me.
Yeah.
Yeah, MacBeth, you're like the hero of the story.
I'm the good old father figure.
You're like nice guy TM.
TM.
That's a +2.
You probably were in a bar or something and you were down on money and I spotted you, maybe.
Would Ribbone drink with the mask still on? Like, is there a mouth hole?
Yeah, it kind of works like
Oh, the bottom half is like loose on the jaw.
yeah,
Okay.
it's kind of detached.
Yeah, that's horrifying. Oh, this is a good one. Well, last question's easy.
I just added that extra piece for MacBeth because you said you spotted me cash once, and then I kind of acted as like muscle for you when you went out like testing your car after you got it fixed or whatever.
Yeah, I like that.
Cool. God damn it. Which one of you think he's pretty?
Really?
Which one do you think is pretty?
Oh, which one is that? What it,
Yeah.
Okay, so I have this one. Yeah, which one do I think is pretty? Well, it's probably the Battlebabe.
Yep.
What?
I mean, there's
Excuse me?
That's
There's
fucked
a-
up, dude. You're 12.
there's a man and a shape-shifting child. Like,
Well, that just seemed to work out well.
yeah, it's just
Well, it's also good that most of them have 3 questions, and there's usually only going to be, 2 or 3 other players, so it usually tends to work out pretty good like that.
Okay.
Child thing.
I wrote HX +1 viewed from afar.
That's funny. Oh, this is sick.
Is it
Yeah.
mine? Are you looking at
Yeah.
mine? Okay. Should I ask one by one or like just put it out there?
Yeah, say their name and then ask.
Alvara? I keep calling you Elvira. I'm sorry.
It's
I like
Elvira,
that.
mistress of the battle.
Elvara.
Alvara. You're good.
You're Elmira.
A wolf.
Say it
I
again.
act like Elmira in real life.
Are you a wolf of the Maelstrom? Maelstrom?
That sounds like a no to me.
Yeah, no.
Well, it's interesting. Like, you don't necessarily know because,
Right.
like, especially with Ribbone, like that mask, it could be a consciousness. It could be a way for the underlying person to like cope with life, or it could be a part of the maelstrom. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like a no is a good answer, but like
Can I say I
well,
don't know?
I don't know.
You
is
can
a,
say
is a
you
good
don't
answer.
know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
we're
can
gonna go
say
with
that.
I don't know.
You can say that I don't want to say. You can say that like I don't think I am. Like those are all valid, and everything has a different history score as well.
Yeah,
We'll
like
go
if you
with
say no, a negative. If you say yes, it's like a 2 negative. But if you say I don't know, it's a +1.
Are there some
Yeah.
like weird like answers that you could
Well, that's
possibly get?
anything else is pretty much +1.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with the I don't know. Or
Okay.
And this could be literal. It could be like this little like girl looking thing walked up and said, "Are you a wolf of the maelstrom?" And you're like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah. I'm out of this. Bye.
Bye.
Sounds
Okay,
like how our
Macbeth,
characters
are you
met.
a wolf of?
So you going?
No, child, I'm just a man.
Okay.
That's a huge negative. Fuck that
Gotta
noise.
be truthful.
Okay, Ribbone, are you a wolf of the Maelstrom?
Well, obviously. I mean, this is
Okay.
a
That's funny. I like that.
it is what it is.
Oh,
Um,
I also have to ask you.
What?
You look like an angel under your disguise. That's it. If they
Well,
say
no.
yes, I have to tell them what they look like.
Yeah, you're right. So to Scab, you look like a screeching angel. with a mask on.
Wait, I do?
No, oh wait, the disguise is the angel, but under your disguise, you make terrible screeching noises and you have no face.
That
Oh,
makes
well,
so much sense.
That's what he looks like under the mask anyway.
That's
So-
funny.
Yeah.
That's really interesting.
I like that a lot.
Cool.
Okay, I forgot to do the highlights. So, Alvara, who? How did we do this? How did I do it for you, Kyle?
It says at the end, choose one character with the highest HX on your sheet and ask which of their stats.
Okay,
which of
so
your
the
stats
person that has the most history with you chooses you. Okay.
chooses your highlights.
Yeah. So Alvara, on your list, who has the highest score?
I have 2 with a +3.
Okay, you can just choose randomly then.
Okay, let me go back to where I was real quick.
All right.
We'll go. Oh geez. We'll go with Scab.
Hot,
Got
hot.
Okay.
hot. Ribbone, who has the highest history with you?
Scab.
Wow, I'm choosing for everyone.
Yep.
Kinda.
Weird.
Mm-hmm.
Hell yeah.
And who has the highest score for Scab?
+3.
Alvara.
Oh. My bad. Yeah.
Has like a +1, right?
Yeah, everyone else is at a minus.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna go hot.
Okay.
Disgusting. People are fucking animals.
Already had one to hot.
Don't judge.
So you don't want to yuck somebody's yum. That's all I know.
No kink shaming.
No kink shaming.
Oh my god.
Oh man.
Disgusting.
That just got weird.
Okay.
Pretty much.
Yeah, so we're all set up. Let's see. What's this town called?
That's a great question.
Dust Bowl.
I like that.
Do you actually like that, or are you just saying that?
I just wrote it down. It's
Oh
canon.
my god.
Okay, so you guys are in Dust Bowl. And I keep separately kind of like a sort of like a map of like near and far away like threats or opportunities or things like that. So I'll be trying to brainstorm some threats. What do you guys think? So there's clearly some kind of like raider group or something that's not part of the town. Were those just like a roving band of a few guys? Was it like do they have a base nearby? Is it like a big group or a small group? What do you guys think?
I think they're like medium-sized travelers, and they pick off people who just like try to explore outside the town, like just one-offs. Like there's not enough people to actually attack the town itself.
Okay, so like
they just,
this is a
wait.
group that kind of wanders between the different by medium-sized, do you mean like maybe 20 people?
Yes.
Okay. So they're just kind of wander between the different settlements in the area and just try to catch stragglers.
They prey on weak people.
Uh-huh. Or somebody that just happened to have really bad luck that day and their car down.
Yeah.
Right.
I think 20 might be maybe too much if it's just 4 of us. Like,
well, I mean, I think they kind of break up.
Well,
I think,
yeah.
Maybe like groups of 4 or 5 of them will travel together, or
If
maybe
that-
even smaller than that.
If that went down, Alvara and MacBeth kind of took out a small group of them, correct?
Well, I mean, like if they're like
If she was part of
yeah,
them, she would have
we
some
don't want to say they're
knowledge.
like hardcore as fuck and they killed like 40 people. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
Oh yeah, Alvara would know.
Yeah.
yeah, it's a good question. Okay, so yeah, so I'm gonna say they split into like maybe groups of 3 or 4. So maybe there was a group of 3, and
she was
Alvara
like,
and MacBeth.
"I'm bored."
Yeah. So
Yeah.
like once you turn, then it's even at that point, and you'd have a surprise on them. So yeah, I think that makes sense. So this group specifically, they're kind of out. Like you said, they just kind of pick people off. But at this point, they have a grudge against Alvara. Let me mark that.
They have a crude drawing of her that they're putting around with.
It's like a stick figure with like the boobs drawn on it.
Oh my god. So adult-like.
It's like, bring this bitch's head to me.
Yeah, at the top it says, "Have you seen this bitch?"
Have you seen this bitch? Question mark.
And it's like reward.
And it's written in crayon.
One pack unopened pink starburst.
Oh my god.
What, dead or alive?
I am a pink starburst, thank you.
Got him. Okay, so there's like this kind of like this roving band of people. Obviously there's the other like child things that live in that den, and I think like there's probably more than that. There's probably some that like grew up and left the den a while ago, and they're just kind of like unknown quantities, just kind of wandering around. What do you think of that, Scab?
Sounds good.
They could have joined those raiders. Like they were lost and they were just kind of pulled in.
Or, you know, one or two of them might sometimes fight against those raiders.
Yeah.
Aged up. That's what I was thinking. I feel like my little would not be down with the raiders.
Mm-hmm.
Because we have like an actual place that we live in.
Right.
And that's what all the bones are. Like they're just groups of three that they picked off and drug into their hellhole and tortured.
I mean, you gotta eat.
You get three of them, they're eating pretty good. I mean,
yeah, that's
true. They're little kids.
Yeah, so there are like the game does leave room for like humans are going to be the primary enemy, but there can be like things. There can be like
mutants.
There can be like wild animals, obviously. Do you think there's like since this is like an area of the world that is known for wildlife, do you think there's some dangerous like wild animals in the area?
Oh yeah, definitely some bears.
I was thinking some like mutated like hawks or something.
That's cool.
And spooky bears.
Yeah, and fully hairless bears.
Ugh.
Yep. That's called skinny dipping.
It's not chunky Duncan?
Well, depends on the bear. Okay.
What about irradiated dogs?
Well, there's definitely packs of wild dogs. I think anytime you take a large number of humans away, the pets like get really violent. Because they're like, I didn't get my 3 p.m. dinner bowl. Everybody's dead to me.
I want like a big mean like pack of like German shepherds and dogs that are like walking around, and then there's one like stupid pug that has its tongue hanging out the side of its mouth, just like tagging along at the back.
Its eyes look different directions, and there's like a wiener dog next to it.
Yeah. That happens on The Leftovers on HBO. Like when all their owners just disappear at once, the dogs go crazy and aggro.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, because like something to do with the event like pissed the animals off.
Yeah.
That's cool. I like that. Okay, so I got a little bit here. I like the idea that there's like a specific pack of dogs.
Can I be cool with the pack of dogs? Because I'm also feral.
That would make sense. But also, I mean, like, you might eat the dogs sometimes.
I might, but I do that with people, and I still talk to people.
Yeah, but also the people in town don't necessarily like you.
You don't discriminate.
Okay, well, I guess. Yes.
If it's got a brain, I eat it. That's all I need to know.
I do it with people, too. I mean,
it makes me smarter.
Does it?
I like to think so.
Does Alvara have a dog? I see in the photo she has a... Is that something that can be acquired?
That can be quantified. That might be something that gets acquired pretty quick here.
Cool.
Better keep it away from me.
Well, not only that, but like I also don't want to like give you a dog and then it just gets right away by a bear.
Have a very like
kind of fucked up
aggressive mastiff that the child can ride. Yeah.
Jesus.
Saddle it up.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I like that.
Okay, so who were some people in this town. Like, okay, so first, like, who's the leader of the town?
John Kasich is the governor.
He definitely would not have survived this long.
What about Average Joe?
I still think that's
Joe?
funny.
I like that.
And what if the town used to be run by
John Kasich?
some of these raider guys, and then they got like pissed that they were like.
Oh, okay.
Like they were. It was like an uprising, and they kicked them out.
Okay, yeah, I like that.
It's
like
kind of just like most of the high end people left. Like maybe there's like 5 people left of this big family that was running the town, and
they're like
the higher ups are
Joe.
like the higher ups are dead, and now their kids are kind of in charge of this raider gang, and they're pissed.
Yes, yeah, I like that. Like Average Joe, his whole point is that like he's like, I wasn't part of the royalty. I wasn't in the gang. I wasn't a mobster. I'm just an average Joe like you guys.
and the family's last name is Jackson, and the group of the raiders are called the Jackson 5. No relation.
No relation. You gotta watch out for Randy.
Oh my god.
He's the one that leads the dog pack.
Crazy Randy.
All right, so Average Joe is the leader. I think he's like 45. So yeah, he basically just like he tries to keep things in line. He handles things like he signs the trade deals with the other towns and stuff. He's in charge of like the guards of the town, which is not much. It's sort of like a volunteer like militia, I guess. It's only, I mean, this town's like we said, only 76 people. So there's not like too many extra bodies laying around.
Does this world have?
They're all in my den.
Does this world have electronics and like computer communications?
I mean, stuff exists. I think there are still computer networks, but they're closed off from each other. So you might be able to find like a treasure trove of data somewhere, but otherwise it's kind of Fallout like, where like you can find a terminal that has some shit on it, but
yeah.
You know.
I think radios, like if there's anything broadcasting, you can pick it up.
Yes, there are broadcasts. I mean, these bigger settlements. Again, kind of like Fallout. They'll sometimes have somebody that just kind of. It's mostly used for contacting people. It's used for communication, not for entertainment. You know, they're not playing music over it usually.
Yeah. So, what if Average Joe's like the postmaster? He handles all the mail and all the communications to the other towns.
Yeah. He definitely is part of that. I think he has a computer where he documents some stuff. He mostly uses it to do like math because he's not very good at math because he's just average.
He's just average at math.
I'm gonna say that about everything. Any given like skill, he's just gonna be average at it. So yeah, he mostly uses the computer to help him like make decisions, but he does like he keeps a record. He keeps like very good records of things. Well, I should say average records. Okay, so who's a guard that somebody has had to deal with?
That would probably be me. I probably dealt with a guard or two.
Okay, so name one of the guards that you had to kind of get one over on. Like, not necessarily. You could be that you were fight, but not necessarily. It could be anything.
Well, Average Joe kind of appoints the guards, and I was dealing with a very average fellow named Phil.
Okay, average
Just Phil. That's all I got from him.
He's a guard with who's fixing MacBeth's car, or I guess has just fixed it? Like, who's the mechanic in town? Yeah.
Okay, that would be.
Wouldn't it be him?
Well, no,
there's a class
of a different
that would
class. Yeah.
I don't want to be too car savvy. I just know how to drive them, not fix them.
You did you were part of putting your car together, but like you were not the quote unquote mechanic. You know what I mean? Like you were the designer in a lot of ways.
I want it to be like an old woman, like a grease monkey.
Old Bessie.
I like that, old Bessie.
Yeah, I'd call her Bess. Bess the mechanic.
Okay, so she's the car.
I work with someone who's technically their name is Joe, but when they were 3, they told their parents they wanted to be called Bess. Now her name's Bess.
What a weird call. If you can pick your name, why would you go with Bess? That's like me choosing to be called Mildred.
I'm gonna call you that for now on.
Okay. I'm trying to think of who else. Who's the person that Scab who's like Scab's ally in town? Not necessarily like, I'm not saying it's like a conspirator, but like somebody that will deal with Scab and kind of help out or communicate, whatever.
Basically, who's the person on the corner with the tinfoil hat screaming about aliens?
Pretty much.
Oh, can we bring Rattlesnake Rusty into this? I feel like that would be Rattlesnake.
Oh, that's awesome.
Not at least Rusty.
Do you
Rusty?
know? Has Shannon seen videos of Rattlesnake?
Used to be a guy who hung around Finley.
She has.
Oh,
you had
shit.
to see him, Shannon.
Are you serious?
The guy without the leg that would stand around, and he would stand with
Panhandle.
his crutches.
Oh, down
you know
by
who
the
I'm
bridge?
talking about?
Down by everywhere. Yeah.
He would stand up by Kroger a lot on Tiffin Avenue because he had. Okay, I'm gonna have to. I'll send you videos, Shannon, on Facebook.
Please do.
He would stand out there. Well, here's the thing. So I actually met him, and he totally used people because he had a prosthetic leg. He would rent a room in that hotel right beside Kroger on Tiffin Avenue. He would leave his prosthetic leg in there, and then he'd go stand up by the gas station in front of Kroger, panhandling for money. And then he'd stand across the street in what like used to be like that bank right across from Speedway.
Mm-hmm.
And I sometimes saw him by Walmart on Trenton Avenue. And
the
guy
with the
who
leg.
Yeah, he's a rapper, and he's on YouTube.
Yes. Rattlesnake.
I'll send you the.
He has YouTube videos.
He has. I'm gonna go ahead and send you
of
the
him
full.
spitting hot fire.
Spitting hot poison.
I'll put it in the group chat.
Is it fire?
He's so ridiculous.
Okay, but is he better than Big Shaq?
Big Shaq is my new favorite musician.
He was one of my clients I used to take care of. He was dating her mom, and I met him that way. And like he went on this whole yeah, so I did this and I did that, and this is how I lost my leg. And I looked at him and I said, okay, so I don't feel bad for you because you were being stupid. I mean, he was jumping trains and he lost his leg.
Well, that'll do it.
I was like, okay, so you did it. These videos are like 8 years old though, but when you see him, you have to know who he is.
Okay, so getting back to this, so Rusty in the town is somebody who will is he the one who's afraid of Scab and Scab's family, or is he the one that's like helpful?
I feel like
he be both. Like he doesn't know what I am.
Yeah, I feel like he'd be a little sketched, but
yeah, I feel like he'd be
kind
scared.
of beholden. Like he thinks like, oh, this is an alien, and they're like, they can kill me.
Oh
so I
no,
have to help them.
He just thinks they're God.
Yeah, like everyone thinks he's crazy because he thinks these things exist. He's like doesn't even know that I'm one of them, but he'll like rant about like the child, like
yeah.
I'm like there as just like an old Asian man.
That's funny. Yeah, okay, I like that. I like that he's both. Okay, so we got somebody from everybody else. So Alvara, who's somebody in town that's important to Alvara? Like, doesn't have to be a friend. It can be like her bartender that she always talks to. It can be like somebody who helps her sell guns. It can be whoever you want.
It can be like the madame at the local like Prazi ring trying to scout you out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, I think that's awesome. I like her idea.
Okay. And you're just like, no, I'm just renting a room here. I don't have any other interest.
I just want a room, dude. A room with a single bed that only I have the key to and nobody else comes in. So what's the person's name?
Oh God.
Is it a madam or is it a pimp? A madam seems a little less threatening. Like I feel like she would break a pimp's legs.
Yeah, no, that's what I was gonna say. I was like, so if we go with the guy and he starts like, you know,
exactly.
stuff, I'm just like, yeah.
Okay.
An older lady.
Let's name her. I don't know. This is a weird name.
It can be an average name.
Okay. That's
You're
taken.
an average name. It looks like it's like Clarice, Clarisse.
Okay.
I like that.
It's very Silence of the Lambs.
Right.
Madame Clarice.
Okay, so she is the proprietor of Ye Old Whorehouse. It's called the Red House, kind of like Red Light District.
Yeah.
It's funny how even in a town of like 70, there's still a
there's like 2 hookers. I mean,
yeah.
you know, they're not
Even in
the
the
best. They're a little worn out.
They need money too, though.
Yeah. Well, it's also, I mean, I think they're primarily for people passing through town. I think the people in town would feel weird, like, using their services. Because it's like, I mean, she lives next door to me, dude. You know, like, sometimes I, like, leave some food for her kids. Like, that'd be kind of fucked up. But, like, the people that come through town that just made some money, you know, they don't have anything holding them back, so. I mean, unless that's good lighting. Then they're like, nope, time to go.
Oh my god.
Okay, is there anybody else? Like, do we want to call out anybody else specific in town, or do you think that's a good? Everybody's got at least one person, and then we of course got Average Joe.
Well, we should probably have a. Like, do we want to have a weapons dealer and then like a general, or like general store, or do we want to have like just one guy who takes care of everything at the Woolsworth?
Oh, that's a good. Yeah, I think the general store has the weapons there too. They have a Walmart. Sells everything.
Cool.
Yeah, that's where Rattlesnake Rusty hangs out.
Yeah, Rattlesnake Rusty.
He
like
Jay and Silent Bob's it up right outside.
Every time the door opens, he looks like startled, like he wasn't expecting it to open.
Oh.
Oh shit.
It sounds like him and his friend Pete. He had a friend named Pete. He was a redheaded guy.
Stinky Pete runs the general store.
You know too much.
I met him too that night. The night I met Rattlesnake, he sat down on the couch next to me while my client was hanging out with her mom, and he goes, "Here, you want a beer?" And I was like, "No, bro, I'm good. Thanks, though." Appreciate the offer.
Oh my god, the time Rattlesnake went to jail.
Is that on your Sorry. Got him. What a... You know, everybody's got something. Yeah, Stinky Pete owns the store. And then I'm gonna say, let's figure out who is the biggest, other than you guys, I guess. Who's the biggest disruptor to town life that's not Rusty? There's somebody like in town that maybe they used to be part of that Raider gang, and they like switched sides when they saw that things were starting to go south. Maybe
Chad.
That sounds like a very Chad thing, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. His name is Chad. He wears boat shoes.
Chad's a dick.
Nobody knows where he got them.
I've ever known are total bags, so I mean.
Nobody knows where Chad got these shoes. They're in like perfect condition.
God help you if you scruff his shoes.
Yes. Okay. What's his issue? Is he? So it sounds like he's an elite.
He's a what?
Like, it sounds like he's an elitist. It sounds like he doesn't like he thinks that he's better than everybody else in town. Like he thinks he should be in charge. I'm gonna write elite.
I'm writing boat shoe Chad.
I mean, I think Scab might like
maybe.
Scab refers to people by like things about them because I think
I'm a child.
Scab not only that, but Scab understands that like looks aren't who you are. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I think Scab like notices certain things about people.
Maybe Chad's last name is Jackson, and he used to be part of that group that was ran out, and now he's just trying to live his life in town, and he's an asshole.
And I think he's like a cousin of the Jackson family. Like he is related, but he wasn't in the core family, so he's like kind of a distant relative.
And he's like trying to be like secretly trying to take the seat for himself. Like he just says underhanded things and spreads terrible bullshit about.
He sounds like he's like a city councilman. Yeah. He's just like
he's like Spencer from The Walking Dead.
Oh Jesus.
Yeah. Like he's very
You
much
haven't
like,
gotten there yet, Austin, because you suck.
I'm not gonna watch it. I'm over it. Like average Joe will be like, we need exactly the right amount of more farms and not any more than extra. Because he's trying to be as average as possible. And you know, Chad will be like, I don't think we need any more farms. I think we need more ranches because I really prefer to have steak with my dinner. You know what I mean? Like
But
he
it's
just
grass fed, right?
I mean,
And
they
there's
don't know
no
what grass is. It's ass fed, know what I'm saying? Ayo.
Oh my God.
So yeah, I mean, Chad could be like he could be like the Raider gang's like man on the inside as well.
Right. Yeah.
Like they could do bidding for him. Like they meet at night and shit, and it's like, you know, I need this person.
Yeah, he'll kind of be like, yeah, he'll say stuff like, he's like, okay, we've had a real issue with this guard in town, and they're like, the gang, the Jackson Five's like, okay, like, we'll break somebody's leg out in the woods, and when the guards go to like check it out, get this one dude out of his house and like kick him out of town, and we'll take care of him. Like, make sure he's got his jewelry on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they don't really like Chad either.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, Chad thinks he's controlling the Raiders, but the Raiders are like, fuck this douche.
Yeah, they're like, fuck Chad.
Yeah.
He probably thinks he's some huge important sleeper cell, but he's just their guy on the inside.
Like, when the time comes, when these guys, like, take over, Chad is gonna be their Channing Tatum. You know what I'm saying?
Oh my God.
What was that movie, End of the World? Or,
yeah. This is the end? Is that what it is?
This is the end.
This is the end.
Yep.
He's basically gonna be their twink fuckboy.
Oh my God.
Like, they hate Chad, but I mean,
hey guys, what's up?
Yeah, exactly. Takes the ball gag out of his mouth. Hey guys, what's up? Yeah, so like Chad thinks he's like setting himself up to be like king or like maybe number 2, but he doesn't know that he's just gonna be the bitch boy. Yeah, I think that's like the main people. Any more people that come along, we'll name them. They probably won't crop up more than once or twice, but an important part of this game is that like everybody's a person. So like, it's totally fine if you guys roll into town and you're like, okay, this guy gave me a bad look, I'm gonna fucking shoot him. But you know, that's gonna have a repercussion in a town of like 70 people. They can't suffer too many losses, you know.
Okay.
Now that said, if you shoot Chad, will anybody do anything? We'll see.
They're just like, finally.
I definitely feel Chad to be set up to be like the main villain of the first season.
The gang would be kind of pissed, I think.
Yes, because like as much as they dislike him, like he is necessary.
Right.
Yeah. So you got your characters don't know that obviously, but it's not hard to figure out. I don't think.
Maybe if somebody kills Chad, the Raiders will recruit that person as their new end guy.
Yeah, maybe
Chad.
Yeah, maybe they'll be like, okay,
Yeah,
you're new Chad. Like, put them damn shoes on. Like, you know, it's possible that they'll be like, you owe us now, Chad, the hanging Chad.
It's a title. It's not his name.
Right. He was born Bartholomew.
Oh my God, I hate that word. I can't say it correctly.
Bartholomew?
Yeah.
It's probably better. You'll do a better job than Shannon does on Maelstrom.
On what word?
Maelstrom.
Maelstrom. I also can't say the word bagel, but you know.
Bagel.
That's how I normally say it. Shut up.
Bagel.
Unless I think, because everybody's like, say it this way. Say bay goals, and I was like, I hate the word bay. Like,
I remember that.
Say it, bagels.
Yeah, Beyonce came up with them, right?
With bagels?
Sounds like it.
Yeah, bagels.
Yeah.
Beyonce goals.
Oh my God, stop.
You can only buy them with a title subscription.
I've had enough.
I feel like T-Pain exists in this perfectly preserved.
And he just runs the radio. He's the 3 dog of the world.
I feel like Jay-Z is the guy on the background in black and white. That's who he looks like.
Yeah, kinda. Jay-Z's got a smaller head. Jay-Z's got a real small head. Okay, so yeah, Yeah, I think we'll call it here. Sometimes in the first session, you kind of like go through a day in the life, but I want to like dig into these rules a little bit more before I start fucking freeballing over here. So, yeah. So we got set up. We got the town of Dust Bowl here, run by Average Joe. We got some threats. Yeah, I think we're good to call it here. So, I guess the only last thing would be, at least in the near term, like you guys obviously you're going to be given a job here when we, our next session. But other than that, like, what's everybody's like goal? What's like a long-term goal
For your character?
Right.
Does it have to be specific, or can it be something vague?
Yeah, it can be something vague. Like it can, MacBeth wants to find somewhere that he feels like he belongs, which
yeah, like I said
might have just
before,
stolen that.
my vague long-term goal is to just head south.
Okay. Is there a reason that he wants to head south? Like, does he just think like, okay, it's gonna be like things are better in the south? Like, did he just hear that growing up, or?
I think my character thinks that it's just going to be safer. Like, apocalypse happened less so somewhere down south, and he just wants to go there.
Okay, that's interesting. Ribbone. I guess Ribbone probably is not really driven by his own goals.
Right. I mean, I feel like his current goal is to. He doesn't really care about acceptance.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't really. I mean, it's really weird. I feel like this character, I can't really pinpoint something that he would actually care about.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, aside from hanging out with Scab at some point, like I feel like that's like.
Okay.
He doesn't want.
Is it
like
maybe
he,
like
I feel like
adapt?
he looks at a lot of people and he has like a thought in his head. He's like, I should kill this person, and then he pulls himself back. But I feel like Scab's probably the one person, probably because it's just Scab's a child.
Well, not only that,
eyes.
but also weird as fuck.
Yeah, and I'm like, it's kind of like, oh well, they're just as weird as I am. Yeah, I don't know about goals. I guess his goal is probably just to see what happens tomorrow.
Okay. Is he interested in the Maelstrom?
Yeah.
I feel like that's even something that just kind of happens.
It's just like something in the background for him. Like he just like
right.
I'm not curious about the sun because it's just there.
Right. Not like it's like people that are like, oh look, I can see the sky, but what's past the sky?
Right.
Like he doesn't really think about it. It's just like, oh okay.
Okay. Alvara?
I feel like my goal is like overall is to explore and to find like new things, but also to like, mess shit up along the way. Okay. I don't know. I'm not good at,
like explore and have fun, basically. Like
yeah.
And then yes, what is Scab's goal? If one exists.
Did we lose her again?
Maybe.
Hello?
Oh, there it is.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Sorry, I couldn't hear.
What is Scab's like long-term goal?
Torn between protecting my fellow child things and like growing up and getting the fuck out.
Okay, is that
a
Scab
thing?
like is Scab the oldest? That's currently there?
That's currently there.
Okay, and Scab was also raised by a previous like oldest sibling.
Child thing, yeah.
I was unaware
that's really interesting.
That child things aged. I just assumed that they stayed.
They're just sort of like an alien.
Not age, but leave, I guess.
Okay,
like,
so it's just like you've been here for you've been here for 12 moons, so it's time to get out of here.
And I mean, they do gain experience. I mean, even if you're born as a full adult or whatever, figure out how to move your legs around. So
yeah,
I guess I get that. Yeah, I can see a lot of interesting like story shit with Scab. Like one of those older siblings comes back, or something happens, like a younger sibling's kidnapped, or I mean, there's a lot. I like that. Okay.
Like, I felt abandoned when my older child thing left me, but like now I want to leave, so I get it, but I don't want to.
Yeah, that's probably a normal part of the child thing's life. You know, they're a baby, they are young, and they don't want to leave the den because they might get hurt. They want to start exploring, and then eventually they're like, okay, I gotta go. Kind of like a cat or a dog, you know? Like eventually it's like, okay, I'm like 6 months old, I'm an adult now, goodbye. You know, I can already quadruple my species within a year and a half from here. Okay, yeah, that's cool. All right, so I got a little bit. I'll work on some story stuff and see what I can come up with. Yeah, other than that, I think we're good to go.
All right. Yeah, thanks for watching, guys. This is kind of our first take at Apocalyptic World here on Digital Dungeons. If you get a chance, always check us out on Facebook, facebook.com/Mammoth Games Inc. You can follow us on Twitter to know when we go live and do stuff like this, at Mammoth Games Inc. And don't forget to hit the follow button here on Twitch. Thanks for hanging out, guys.
Bye.